From laid off to $20,000 a month working part-time.
We had 6 kids to feed. We were scrambling.
Here's how one video changed everything.
All I saw was John binge watching YouTube at 2 a.m. I thought he had lost his mind.
I showed up, rolled it out in 10 minutes, and walked away with 550 bucks.
Wow.
I started with an old truck, a hay trailer, and about $1,000.
Watch them reveal their chance encounter that sparked their growth.
So 7 out of 10 jobs came from this one conversation, and it cost us nothing.
Discover the secret revenue that pays them twice for certain jobs. And yes, it is legal.
Yeah, so I have one rule. I don't leave the house unless I'm making $200 an hour. And in this business, it's surprisingly easy to do.
And at last, what we're all wondering, is this America's most lucrative business, or is there a catch? All right, John, I don't think anybody wakes up and all of a sudden says, you know what, let me get into the junk removal business. So what's your story? How did you get into this?
Yeah, so an interesting story. My wife got laid off from her job in 2020, right at the beginning of COVID, as she was 5 months pregnant, and we have 6 children. I kind of panicked. I mean, we lost a 6-figure-a-year job, just poof. So I was having trouble sleeping, and I was up late at night watching YouTube videos, and one popped up. It said how to start a junk removal business, and it was a guy out of Sonoma, California. He was super informative. He just kind of explained step by step how to do it. It resonated with me because he was like me. He was a blue collar guy. He got tired of doing warehouse work and wanted to do something else. I went to my wife and I said, hey, I think we should start a junk removal business. And she said, absolutely not. You know, I mean,
was that the answer you were expecting?
Well, she's a bit of a germaphobe. The thought of messing around with people's junk, that did not seem like a thing. So I kind of went to her and said, hey, you got to watch these videos. And I kind of kept bugging her. So we got her to sit down and watch a video. And so then I broke it down for her. I said, well, I don't think it'll cost that much. We have a truck. All we need to do is get a trailer. Let's do something, you know? Yeah. And so she finally agreed. We just jumped in and did it.
Tell us where we are briefly. I mean, I know we're hooking up the trailer. We're going to head out to a location later on, but...
Right, so what we do with our business right now is we store our equipment here at a storage unit facility. They have parking spaces for rent, and so I rent them. We have a 16x7 dump trailer here. This is our primary trailer that we use for hauling junk, and I come here and we hook up our truck and trailer, and off we go to do our job.
Give us an idea on the scale of your operations today. This is year, 4.5 already, right?
Initially, it was just me, just a truck. I just went and made it happen. And so now we have about 6 1099 guys. We have 2 working trailers. One we use for metal storage, and then this one is the primary junk removal.
And then you do something else on the side too.
Right, I've been a truck driver for going on 30 years now.
Wow. Still, so you and your wife are fully employed?
Yes.
And you're doing this on the side?
Yes.
Kind of-ish.
Well, full-time on the side, yeah.
That's amazing. You know, let's get into why both of you haven't quit your full-time jobs yet. But in the meantime, let's go check out the truck.
Alrighty, so there isn't a whole lot to show when it comes to just tools of the trade, really.
Yeah, you're right.
A hand truck is a must. You have to have a hand truck, a good one. Also, if you look up at the top of the garbage can there's a 4-wheel dolly sticking out. With a dolly, I can move a large piece of furniture out of a house and put it in the dump trailer myself.
There's nothing really a lot to show here, guys, but I think that brings up a good point, right, John? Like in this business, you don't really need a lot to get started.
You don't.
So what are the bare minimums? Talk to us about maybe investment dollar-wise and tools to get started.
Right, a truck and a hand truck.
That's the number one.
If you put sides on this truck, there's an 8-foot bed on this truck. If you put sides on it, like just a couple feet, 2-3 feet split sides on this truck, you don't even have to get a trailer. You just start with a truck. You base your charging on the size of your truck. What we started with was my wife and I found this old Chevy short bed truck at a garage sale for $750.
No way.
We also bought a little old hay trailer, and that was $1,400 for the trailer. We started with a truck and a trailer because I had a short box truck. I just didn't figure I could do enough work in a day to make it worth it for me to do.
Tell us about your first job. What does it feel like to get that first customer? What's the story on it? Anything unique, anything fun?
Once we got our business established, our first real job was through a real estate agent that we met, and she had a client who was an 80-year-old widow, and she had a big tree that was on her property that somebody had cut down, and they were supposed to haul it away and didn't. I went out and looked at it. This was a cottonwood tree, and I was like, okay, I don't even know what to charge you. And she says, well, I had one guy come out here and he said it would cost $6,000 to remove it. And I said, I can do it for cheaper than that. And I said, what can you afford? And she said, well, I can afford $2,000. And I said, okay, I'll do it. And I didn't know how I was gonna do it. I had no clue. So I called my father-in-law who had a bunch of chainsaws and said, hey, I got this tree I'm supposed to remove. Will you come help me? And so we worked on that for 2 weeks. I was out there every single day. We would cut this thing into big chunks, and then we had to split each chunk into about 8 pieces in order to make it liftable, because cottonwood is wet. And because you couldn't dump wood that size, I just took it home. and made big wood piles. And still to this day, I have some of that cottonwood.
What's the lesson there, John? Like
today, I wouldn't say yes to a job like that for that amount of money, but it was a great experience. It really helped that lady, and it felt really good. Our cost was just simply my labor. I mean, really, it didn't cost me anything other than gas on my truck and my time. And I think that, you know, service is huge when it comes to a business.
That's fair. Well, I'm excited to go check out an actual job site, show you guys how profits are made in the junk removal business. Let's do it.
All right.
Can you tell us a little bit about how long this job will take, how much we'll make, profits, whatever?
Yeah, so typically this would take under an hour to load, and then so we gross probably about $675 on this one, and then we'd clear probably a little over 500.
Oh, wow. So you mentioned YouTube as a way to discover this business, but what made you sure that it's junk removal, and how did you learn the ins and outs?
It made sense to me because I love physical labor. Grab the stuff, you put it in your trailer, it's empty, it's clean, it's done, and gone, right? And then that's kind of what made me sure. Also, it's around transportation, which is what I've been doing for a living for years. So driving a truck, backing up a trailer, going from place to place, that really appealed to me, not being in one stationary location all day. So that's what really made me decide.
What services do you offer, and what's been the most profitable?
So we do primarily junk removal. We also do light demo, so demo of kitchens and bathrooms. The most profitable actually is hot tub removal.
Interesting.
Surprisingly, people, you know, they get them, they break. It costs more to fix them than it does to buy a new one, so they just get rid of them. But it's problematic because they're so big and so heavy. We charge about $675 for a 4-person hot tub. I've charged as much as $1,000 for up to a 12-person hot tub.
Well,
and usually to demo a hot tub takes anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes.
What kind of per hour are you shooting for then in general?
Yeah, our goal is $200 an hour. From the time I leave my house till the time I return to my house, my goal is to make $200 an hour for every hour spent away from home. Otherwise, it's really just not worth it to be away from my kids.
How are you bringing in customers initially in those first couple weeks, couple months, and so forth?
Primarily Facebook. We just went on all the community pages and kind of put our logo and our name out there, let people know that we were in business. We were on vacation about a week before we actually officially launched our business. And my wife met the lady who was the lead singer in this band that was performing out there. She was a real estate agent. And my wife started talking to her about how we were starting this business. And so she recommended a networking group locally that we could join called Ignite You. And so when we got home, we signed up, and it created a bunch of really great connections with real estate agents and property managers and construction people. And I think still to this day, either directly or indirectly, we probably get 70% of our business from that networking group.
Wow. If you guys are enjoying seeing how this business operates, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button so that you don't miss any other exciting businesses that we have coming up. And of course, it helps us bring on amazing entrepreneurs like John. You're dealing with junk, you've got metal, wood, all kinds of materials. Let's discuss the importance of separating and the potential of making additional revenue there. So you've got metal, you've got glass. How do you do it?
Right. So in a piece of furniture like this, it's non-recyclable. There's nothing you can really do with this. So this, unfortunately, would just go to the dump.
Even with the glass?
Even with the glass and stuff in it, it'll just go to the dump. It's too much labor to pull that out. Metal itself, right? So we have ferrous metal, we have non-ferrous metal. We do our best to separate that stuff out. Right now, I think that the going rate, say for copper, is $2.61 a pound. If I find pieces of copper, I save that. I put it in a bucket. I save it until I have 10, 15, 20, 30 pounds of it. And then I go and sell it. And so, you know, it's a substantial gain of money when it comes to the fact that they paid me to haul it away, and now I'm getting paid to get rid of it.
Now, you don't have to legally do it. That's your choice as an operator,
it's just my choice.
Right?
It's just another
Because it's more labor,
stream.
more work.
It is, because customers love it. They love the fact that you're coming and not taking all their stuff to the landfill. I mean, we live in Washington State, it's a very ecological friendly state, and we have limited space in our landfills, which is just the truth. And so the less we can put there, the more we can keep out of the landfill, the longer we can keep going to the landfill, the longer I can stay in business. So it is a win-win for everybody to separate.
Can you quickly share some cool things where you brought junk out and it ended up selling for $1,000 or more?
When we were doing a job, we were cleaning out a barn, and we found I don't even know what it's called, but it's a machine that magnifies books. And so I looked it up online. It was a $3,000 machine. It was brand new in the box in this barn. And so I brought it home. We put it online, and we sold it for $700. We appreciate that. It's
another man's treasure, or how do they say?
One man's junk is another man's treasure. Right?
There you go. They say one man's trash is another man's treasure. But John knows better than most. It's only true if you could see what others don't. Ooh. John's ability to adapt in real time and make critical decisions is why he's pulling in over $20,000 a month. But with growth comes chaos. Tracking invoices, managing jobs, juggling payroll, forecasting expenses. It's tough to see what matters and make the right call. That's where NetSuite by Oracle comes in. It's the AI-powered business management suite that unifies your accounting, financials, inventory, and HR all into one convenient dashboard. With NetSuite, you get total visibility. So if I needed to make my next big move for my business, this is the tool I trust to guide it. Plus, with AI built in, NetSuite helps you automate the stuff that slows you down. That means more time growing your business and less time buried under admin clutter. The formula is simple. Clarity equals confidence. NetSuite gives you both. If your revenue's in the 7 figures, download the free ebook, Navigating Global Trade, 3 Insights for Leaders at netsuite.com/upflip. That's netsuite.com/upflip. All right, blitz time with John. You ready?
Yep.
All right, let's do it. What's the strangest thing you've ever found on a job site?
Dentures. Old guy called before the job, said he couldn't find his dentures, said please keep an eye out for him, and we found him, and so
You found him. Okay.
we got his smile back.
If someone gave you $10,000 to invest in your business tomorrow, what would you spend it on?
Another dump trailer.
Nice. Okay. How often do customers try to negotiate your prices down? What's your response?
Price is the price. They do try frequently, and I just say price is the price.
Oh, what's the biggest tip a customer has ever given you?
$1,000.
Whoa. Rich. When you eventually leave your full-time job, what's the first thing you'll do with your newfound time?
Spend more time with my kids.
I love it. Last one. What keeps you motivated on days when you're exhausted from your regular jobs?
My wife.
Good answer. You win.
So are we just taking this and you throw it all in the trailer at once and then you separate, or should we do that now?
So in a little job like this, what we would do is take the little metal and put it in the back of the pickup truck. So that separates it. I mean, there's not enough here to like separate loads.
Okay.
In bigger jobs, as the guys are pulling, like say cleaning out a house, the guys would pull all the metal and put it in a big pile in the front yard. And we would load all the junk that goes to the dump in the trailer. And we would load the trailer with all of the metal from the job last, so it's separated.
Okay. Where are you at revenue-wise today, being year 4 plus? Yeah. And what are the profit margins for industry and what maybe you're shooting for?
Right now, revenue for the month would $20,000 to $25,000 a month pretty consistently.
Not bad, is it?
And then that's on average because we have our slow time of the year. Our biggest month since we've been in business was like almost $50,000. Wow. But that was just bananas. A lot of big jobs. So, I mean, profit margins, we're at 60 to 70% as a profit margin just because our overhead is so low because we're debt free.
True. So, I mean, yeah, obviously things would look different if you had a staff of 10 people plus.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, I know I'm not much of help on set, but might as well.
Get your hands dirty a little bit.
Get my hands dirty and find out why in the world are you two still working full-time jobs? I think people are wondering that.
So the goal is for it to not be the case. I mean, and originally when I started this, my wife got laid off, right? So the idea was to replace her income. And so we've done that. However, we have 6 children with 6 sets of activities. We have a mortgage. We have all of the normal bills of an American family. So I started thinking of the business less as of a revenue stream for our family and more of as an asset and a legacy builder for our kids. So a big part of the reason that we're keeping careers is I have a pension with my career. Alison has a pension with her career. And so that's for our retirement. This business is to pass on to our kids. So we're building it from that perspective. We don't take a lot of money out of this business. We reinvest it into the business, debt-free, saving to buy equipment and advertising and so forth. So the goal is eventually for me to step away from my job first and run this. Because as I'm getting older, my job is very physical. So getting to a place where I'm running a business versus working a business is the goal. I think we're probably 2 to 3 years away from that right now.
Okay. What's incredible too, I know you viewers would agree, is the fact that you've gotten to a $20,000 revenue per month doing this as a side hustle with a full-time job.
Right.
And that's
pretty cool.
We're here to say that that's possible.
It is possible. And if you have more time to put into it, you have more, that you're going to gain.
Sky's the limit.
Yeah, it really is.
Give our viewers a step-by-step blueprint for building a junk removal business, specifically focusing on being a side gig.
Side gig. Number one, with junk removal, you're going to need some sort of vehicle. So that needs to be, you got to have a truck or a truck and trailer combination. Number two, of course, get a business license, decide what your business name is going to be and brand yourself.
Yeah.
Number three, start getting your name out there, start telling people you're starting this business and seeing if you get talk to all your friends and family and say, hey, do you know anybody who needs junk removal? I mean, get out there and start doing jobs. Get the license, get out there and just start hustling and doing it. I mean, that's the blueprint. Simpler. Yeah, really.
What's the most that you've made from like one job? Give us an idea. And what's the most profitable services you've done?
Okay, we did a clean out in Enumclaw. Somebody had died and their kids came in, they had an estate sale, and then there was all the stuff that was left with a huge shop. Wow. It took us a week to do and it paid 15 grand the job itself, and then we got $2,000 in recycling. So all the metal from the job paid almost $2,000. So I think that puts us at $17,000. And then we did some reselling, and I think we made another $1,000 there. So we were pretty, I mean, 18 to 20 grand just on one job.
Wow, and you come in and literally grab whatever's not attached to the building.
Anything not nailed down. And then they did have us come back after that and do some demo also. So
that's awesome. So clean out the general stuff is your number one primary source of revenue.
It's our favorite type of job, is to just clean out a house.
What's your advice to our viewers when it comes to pricing services?
So pricing with junk removal, for us, it's pretty straightforward. We price by volume. So this trailer, it's a 16 cubic yard trailer. The picture of that would be 16 washers and dryers you could fit in this trailer. We charge $875 for a full load. If it's half a load, then we're down at $440, and so on. The model in most junk removal is, when people call up and say, how much is going to cost? You say, let's just put you on the schedule. We'll come out and look at your junk. We'll quote you a price on the spot. And if you agree, we'll do the work. That's the model that all these other businesses use. We have a different model. We say, please send us pictures. And then based on those pictures, I give them a soft quote. Early on, that was a challenge. You get a one-dimensional picture of a three-dimensional pile, and it's hard sometimes to tell how much it is. And so there was times I went out and I quoted a lady, $250 to $300, and it was a $600 load. I just ate it. It's customer service. I'd rather have her repeat business than try to gouge her and,
sorry, it was not 250.
Right. So, I still made a little bit of money, but I didn't make money.
Love the trucks wrap. What did it cost? How much of an impact does it have on your business?
The truck wrap cost $5,000, which is a huge expense. We've easily made that plus back in just calls off the truck. This is a rolling billboard. I drive it as my daily driver. I try to park it always at the front of a parking lot, places where people could see it. We get a ton of calls just off this.
Wow.
So,
definitely well worth the investment.
Absolutely. I wouldn't do it any other way.
What's the biggest mistake that you've made since running this business?
Advertising, hands down, biggest mistake we made.
How much are we talking about?
Well, we've spent at least $60,000 since we started on advertising, and absolutely no ROI, no return on our investment whatsoever. I mean, ridiculous. Spent thousands of dollars on Google Ads, the phone calls we got were for little jobs, people price checking, no closing of jobs on that. We tried radio. We got some free radio airtime and then ended up sticking with that for a while. We did that for, I think, 6 months at $2,000 a month. Nothing. I think we got one phone call off of that radio ad. It was a great ad, it was really cool. We paid a ton of money for SEO, hired these different companies that say they can optimize your search engine and get you to the top of Google, and nothing. Doesn't actually work. I mean, what works with that is just organic, people leaving reviews. So that's what we push now with every customer. Hey, please leave us a review on Google, please. It helps our business.
All right, well, we're done here. Let's get out of here. Head over to the next location. All right, before we make it to the dump, making a quick stop at your home office. Right. So this is where you run the whole business out of.
Yep, just out of our house.
Share with us the revenue from commercial to residential clients as it is today. What's the percentage?
It's 80-20. We have one major commercial account, which is about a $30,000 a year account. It's a pallet pickup for Home Depot, and we do it once a week.
Is the sale process different, John, as opposed to residential and commercial?
It is. It's a little harder to get access to some of these commercial accounts because they have national accounts with large companies like 1-800-GOT-JUNK. So getting your foot in the door, finding that person to talk to that's the gatekeeper for those types of accounts is difficult.
What's the trick? How'd you get it? How'd you get yours?
I got mine basically from answering my email. Somebody was emailing out saying, hey, is there anybody who does this? And they'd send an email, I guess, to a bunch of junk removal companies, and I was the only one who answered.
What? Quite the deal to secure by just answering your email.
Answering your phone and answering your email is a huge deal in business. You'd be surprised how many customers we go to that say, you're the only person who would call us back or who answered the phone. So it's a really big deal in business, a big part of your customer service and building your business to make sure you answer your phone, answer your emails, and don't neglect those pieces.
So majority of your sales come from networking, referral groups. How can our viewers replicate the same success? Give us some exact steps they can take today to make that happen.
Just check your local directory. There's networking groups going on in every major township and city around the United States.
That's a good one. It's happening in every shitty.
There's networking groups in every major township and city in the United States. I mean, this is a big deal. Everybody knows that networking works. So find one close to you, visit, be a guest, and see if it's something you want to join up. Join.
John, how much do you think all this trash is going to cost us? Just your quick guess.
160 to 180.
160. Guys, what do you think? Comment below. Love to see how close you get. After loading up this trailer full of trash, all I can think of is how some of the best business opportunities are not the most glamorous. While tech startups sound cool, people like John here make bank in what others overlook. Take UpFlip Academy's William Milliken, who makes $166,000 a month picking up dog poop. Seriously, you want more of these unconventional, high-profit opportunities and a step-by-step blueprint on how to start them, you've got to check out the UpFlip Academy. We'll make sure to leave a link in the description, so make sure to check it out. This dump is a real deal.
Yeah, it's pretty smelly.
I wonder what it's like to work here all day.
I couldn't do it.
Oh, man. What's been the most rewarding thing about being in this business and doing your own job?
The most rewarding thing for me, honestly, has been getting to spend time with my kids. Like you saw today, my son came out.
Excuse me.
And my daughters come typically on a lot of the local jobs. And it's pretty amazing when you're sitting in a truck with your kid and you're not looking at them. It opens up doors of conversation and lines of conversation that are pretty incredible for a dad. You know, to at least kind of get a bird's eye view into their life and what's going on with them. And I just love being around them. And so being a big family and having a couple of different jobs, you know, I'm gone a lot. And so to be able to bring them at least on one of those, that's been the most rewarding thing for me.
Cool. Give us an overview of what your week looks like. Your full-time job, running this business.
Right, so I work 410s. My day job starts at usually around noon. So I'm up early every morning, take my kids to school, and then I do junk removal typically from about 9 a.m. until 11.
Okay.
Yeah, because I can get in number of 3 little jobs pretty easily in that time period. Then off to my normal job. I do that Monday through Friday. On Saturday, which is a normal day off for me, we just do junk removal all day. And then we take Sundays off. So it's a 6-day work week. That's the model. And we like that model.
And you're out in the trenches, you're not at the office.
No,
that's Alison's role.
That's Alison handles all of the logistical paperwork and all of those things. And one of the smartest things we did early on was we have a CPA that does all our bookkeeping. And so we just forward that over to her and she handles all that for us.
You've got a solid 5-star review on Google, which is amazing. How do you focus on customer service? How do you ask for reviews? What can you tell us?
That's a part of every job we do at the end of the job. I ask them if they're satisfied. I ask them if there's something we could do different. And then I ask for a 5-star review. I don't ask for a review. I ask them to give us a 5-star review. And so that's why we've got them. We don't solicit reviews other than at the job site.
No follow-up, no text, no email, none of that?
Just at the job site.
Gotcha.
So,
yeah, I saw you today when we left that job site, sort of spending 15 minutes talking with the customer. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
The connections that we make with these people, they lead to referrals every time. And so showing an interest in their lives, because we do actually give it, you know, we care about them and we care about our customers. We don't just say that, we try to live that and care about them beyond, you know, just bringing them junk. We care about them as people, see if there's any other way we can serve them. So,
all right, well, let's get out of here. Get the stuff paid for, because I'm guessing, if I was right, I'm thinking $200 on the payload here.
Yeah, pretty close.
You're thinking 165 or?
Well, I think between 160 and 180, but we'll see.
Let's do it. So we asked you earlier what you think this dump will cost, John. Give us the secret.
150 today.
150. Yeah. Okay. Curious how close you came. All right, what keeps you up as a business owner at night, if anything?
Really, equipment issues is what would keep me up. So if I have a truck that's having problems, then that's a big problem.
How do you mitigate that? I mean,
we stay up on top of maintenance as best we can. I bring the truck in every month and a half just to get it checked out and make sure everything's running right. Any little noise, I'm running into the shop.
Gotcha. Yeah, your equipment's down, your business is down, essentially. Yep. I'm sure everyone's wondering, when it comes to running a business with family, especially your spouse, how do you guys make it work? Give us an example of working through maybe some disagreements, different perspectives. Who takes the lead?
Truthfully, we don't disagree too terribly often. I mean, it's very rare. Usually it's about scheduling. If we do disagree, I want to do more, she wants to do less. And that's, honestly, I defer to her. She runs the schedule, and so I will, if she says, John, it's too much, I'm going to say, all right, I'll listen to you. Any
tips that you guys have kind of put up or created, said, hey, if that happens, this is how we're going to get through it?
I mean, ultimately, I do have the final say. I mean, she does give me that. Ultimately, I try not to abuse that. But I do trust her intuition on when it's too much, because I will work myself into the ground. So.
What would you do differently if you were to start all over today?
Honestly, it would be buy a dump trailer immediately. We went 2 years hand unloading trailers.
Oh, wow.
From our little trailer. And so you're double touching stuff. It really, if you think about that, it's cutting into your profit margin, just labor versus what you're making.
For sure.
We're double touching everything in it. And we had to bag all the little stuff because you had to hand unload it. So a dump trailer is the only way to go, or a dump truck if that was the case.
How much can we get a decent one for?
Today we paid $11,500 for this trailer, and we special ordered it out of Texas to my specifications. So, which I would never do anything different. I like exactly this size, works the best for us.
What has the military taught you specifically and that you're using in business today?
There's two phrases that they taught me when I was in the military. One of them was embrace the suck, and the other one is pain is only weakness leaving your body, right? And those are kind of silly mantras, but really it's true in life in general, that you don't have to like it, you just have to do it. And so when it comes to this type of work, it's just simply a matter of doing it till it's done, not getting caught up on the fact that it's smelly or messy or dirty or hard, just continuing to do it until it's done. And I think that's probably one of the main lessons I learned in the military.
How has your leadership style changed since starting this business?
When I started this business, I'm a worker. I've been a worker for 30 years, right? So there's that mindset of being a worker. So as we've grown and I've had to bring employees into play, that has been a huge paradigm shift for me. But I'll tell you what, since I have begun to release that, it has freed me up to do the other part of the business, which is sales. It's given me a little more time to spend with my family and not be so worried all the time that things are getting done right. You know, so we've done good training with the guys that work for us. They do a great job. I've begun to trust that I can let them do it and not have to micromanage.
What's the key, John, takeaway maybe from, for somebody watching to make that shift from going from operator to, marketing and more important things as well?
For me, it's been having a really good wife. She's absolutely incredible resource in that department of reminding me that, hey, you're the owner. You got to act like the owner, and you're not the buddy on the job, and you need to set the standard, and you need to let guys know what's expected and then hold their feet to the fire to get it done.
What about advice for those that don't have a wife yet?
We got a business coach early on. I would recommend doing that. And that was super helpful, especially for me, talking to somebody who had started a business, run a business, and had good advice on how to deal with those things and those transitions.
Awesome. Let's talk about the challenges that you face with 1099 contractors versus employees, and how do you operate today? What's your outlook, in the next 3 to 5 years?
We went with 1099 employees because I can't give a guy full-time year-round. And so my plan has been to wait until I know that the business can support to hire somebody full-time. So we've used contractors and 1099 guys, which works out great. The guys that come to work for me are motivated because they're there to make extra money. And then I've just kind of built my Rolodex of guys as I go and met them all over the place.
What's the downside to that? I can think of one where you send them out, they're showing up under your brand, your reputation, and something goes haywire, you're the one on the reputation. Right. So how do you establish that and make sure that everything's done?
So the only time a 1099 guy is out on a job alone would be a demo job. But if we're doing junk removal, which is what I prefer to do most of the time, then I'm in the truck with them. And eventually when we get a full-time employee, that will be the goal of having somebody who can drive the truck.
So you mentioned that you'll never use debt to expand and scale the business. Why is that your stance, and when will it change, if so?
Okay, well, we haven't used debt currently. Our model to begin with was, look, we're going to do this cash only. I didn't want to leverage my family's financial situation against a business. That was a concern of mine, that we'd have this debt and not be able to fulfill it at some point if business were to drop off or unforeseen injury or whatever. Now, I am willing to absorb debt as we grow. Once the business justifies taking on that type of debt, that's just a part of growing business. You're going to have to absorb some debt at some point, primarily in our business for equipment. I mean, that's what we're looking at. And so when we get the volume where we need more equipment, to get the right equipment, you have to spend quite a bit of money, and using your cash, which is for your cash flow, to do that is kind of silly. So that's what we'll be doing in the future.
Especially starting out though, no debt. Don't you sleep better at night?
I do. I don't have to worry about it. Like if everything went south tomorrow, I can just pretty much hang up the keys and close the bank account and walk away. I'm risk averse in general. But you have to take some risk in business.
What's your advice to those who are considering using debt? They're just starting out. Maybe their tolerance is a little different than yours. What do you say
if you're
to them
a young person with no family, I say go for it. I mean, nothing ventured, nothing gained.
Just to scale quicker.
But I have seen junk removal businesses that I've met that have started after me that have gone out of business due to that. And so I would just caution again that you make sure you're going to have to really hustle to get business. You can't just rest in your laurels. You better be out there every day if you're not working, getting business.
You both have a full-time job, 6 kids, which is incredible. How do you keep things organized and keep the train moving?
My wife, I got to give her 100% credit to that. I'm boots on the ground. My wife is organizational queen. That's her job. She's an administrator, and so she just is hyper organized and hyper schedule focused. We have a quick 10-minute coffee meeting every morning. She texts my phone and lines out the schedule for me. This is the time you have for this. Awesome. kids have to be picked up at this time. You have to be done with this job by then. And we just go. And we go like crazy with our hair on fire and let God work it out. I mean, honestly, that's a lot of it is prayer and faith and hope that it's going to work out.
And so without her, you'd probably be a walking chaos?
We'd be lost. I'd be completely lost.
That's cool to give so much genuine credit to your spouse. That's amazing. What is the busiest month or season for junk removal? And how do you handle the seasonality?
April through September is our busy time. And then from September to April, it can get really slow. What we're trying to do right now and what we've really started focusing on is getting commercial accounts, stuff that just is year round that we do every week. It's problematic because it takes away from part of the schedule, but it's what will carry us through those slower months. Now, I like it to be a little slower in the wintertime. That's Christmas, that's holidays, that's family. So for me, that's fine. You know, our overhead per month is storage costs and insurance, and it's actually very low. I don't have to do a lot of work to pay our bills. So.
That's awesome. But if somebody is in a different spot and is fully invested into the business, you brought up a good point, commercial accounts.
Commercial accounts.
Get you through winter.
Property
get you through
management, real estate agents, yeah, that's where you want to network with those people. And
what's your advice for our viewers who are watching to build relationships with local businesses and get referrals?
The big thing is always just talking. You know, just every business we go into, my wife announces that, well, we have a small business. What do you guys do for advertising? We ask a lot of questions.
Just pop-ins?
And just, yeah, when we're out and about. I mean, we're in the community, and so we're out and about, and we do a lot of that. We were getting some chemicals for our pool, and she happened to mention that we had a junk removal business to the lady at the pool store, and she says, oh, well, do you guys remove hot tubs? And we said, yeah, well, we have people asking us all the time how to do that. So we left cards with her, and every time we got a referral, my wife would go in and bring her a cup of coffee and some cookies. And so we get all of their hot tub referrals from that one pool store,
cool.
which has created huge amounts of money.
If I can hone in on maybe something specific here, but how has running your own business for the last 4+ years changed you as a person?
That's a tough question. I think I'm the same person that I was before. I wear a few more hats. That might be something that's changed, you know, being a business owner versus just a worker. It's definitely changed the way I view family legacy and leaving something for your children. And I think that's probably been the biggest paradigm shift for me in my thinking is that, hey, that we're building a legacy for our family, something that our kids can own later on or run later on. So,
and there's no better avenue than through creating your own company.
Right. I mean, having your own business is the way to go. And really, it's the way America was built, right?
Amen. A very big percentage of our viewers who are watching are saying that they're scared to take the leap of faith, start their own business. They've got a 9 to 6. You've done it, 6 kids, big family, full-time. How did you do it? What's your advice to those who are kind of scared to make that leap?
You know, the fear is just a roadblock. And once you get past the fear and get into the doing, the fear goes away. And so I would just say do it. I mean, it's not so much a leap of faith as it is breaking through a wall of fear and a what ifs. And you just have to do it. And you can mitigate the risk by going cash only. You don't put yourself in debt. You don't take that type of risk, but take the risk of doing it.
If Big John fired up your entrepreneurial spirit, then episode 208 with an accountant's luxury trash side hustle will get you fired up even more. And you don't even need a truck or trailer. So make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.